It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? It's your boy Dave in the 702 coming at you for that Monday night recap known as the Shoe Shine, where friends from around the world get together to talk about the sweet science. I'm Dave in the 702. Joining me always is my co-host from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish, Drew Evo. ¿Qué pasa, homie?
What's up, Dave?
Good to see you again, Drew. Good to see you again. Thank you to all the brand new subscribers. We hope to keep this subscriber train growing. And thank you to all of those past subscribers that have been watching the show in horizontal on the television and now putting up with your boy Dave and Drew's antics doing the whole vertical stream. Shout out to all of you for supporting that. If you don't like it, please let me know. If you do like it, let us know. Drop a comment. But we got to try to grow this channel. It is Cinco de Mayo week, Drew. And I am wearing my finest Mexican cowboy sombrero. And I am going to be having a celebratory shot. That's right. Shout out to everybody joining us. Packables in the room. Shout out to you, Bruce Gas Boxing Jazz. Make sure you subscribe to him. Shout out to Jimenez Video Productions. Make sure you subscribe to him. So for the homies, I have a very beautiful brand new bottle. Look at this. Would you look at that? Look at this bottle. Mi Familia Flores Extra Añejo. Drew, this has been aged for 3 years. Now, let me tell you, I was scoffing at this bottle because at the Total Wine in Las Vegas, this is like their in-house brand, and they I went in for something else, Drew, and they gave me a sample of this, and this shit was $94, and I had a $10 discount. I don't spend that kind of money on tequila. Yeah, I was tripping, but this is a special occasion and a special week because, like I said, it's Cinco de Mayo and Canelo Alvarez is coming to town. And come Wednesday night, the city will be buzzing with an all-Mexican showdown. Drew, we haven't had one of these since 2017. Well, 2017 is the last time Canelo Alvarez faced a Mexican opponent. You might remember that guy. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Drew. Any recollections while do you remember that fight? Give me your thoughts on that fight. If you remember that fight, while I take this shot.
Chavez Jr. was terrible in that fight. Like, he's been in his last couple, like 5 fights, he's been terrible in.
Can you believe that your boy sat at that fight in front? I was sitting in front of Fernando Ferros Vargas's family and Emiliano Vargas and I think Amado. And they were just pre-teens at the time. And of course, if you're following the careers, Emiliano Vargas is now signed to Top Rank. He's like, I think, practically 10-0. Shout out to him. And Amado will be fighting Ryan Garcia's brother, Sean Garcia, on an upcoming fight featuring the MMA fighters from Stockton. Who's fighting that fight? Man, that's a Masvidal versus Nate Diaz? Yeah, crazy. And Amado, like I said, that was 2017. That was over, golly, how long ago? That's the last time Canelo fought a Mexican opponent. And that fight was trash, absolute trash. Shout out to my boy Chicano Prophet. Make sure you check out his show too. This is a big week for fight fans in Las Vegas and across the world because we've been arguing for the past 2 weeks who's the face of boxing. We got with this new conversation because Ryan Garcia is on a celebratory tour across the country, Drew. He was hanging out with, I love Deion Sanders because, he played for the 49ers, you know what I'm saying? But he's the coach of Colorado, and somehow Ryan Garcia ended up in Colorado at this game, at a concert with who? I forget which rapper. Oh, man, help me. You know he was on a rap tour. He was on stage. He did his song on stage. Not only is he doing that, he's hanging out with the president of the... Oh, excuse me. I totally forgot. He's not the president. Excuse me. But a very youthful-looking Donald Trump, Ryan Garcia on the Trump train 2024. And I got to ask, is Donald Trump, is this face app? Is this some kind of filter? Because goddamn, Donald Trump is looking young here. He is looking... Is it Ryan Garcia's fountain of youth over here wearing off on former President Donald Trump? But there isn't anything Ryan Garcia is not doing. And Ryan Garcia is going around and people are arguing that he is the new face of boxing, Drew. We touched upon it yesterday. People have been leaving comments. Your thoughts on Ryan Garcia's celebration tour? Is it going too far, or does he keep going with it?
He's not the face of boxing. Like, I think guys need to look at it like this. If he was anywhere close to it, his pay-per-view would have drawn. And it didn't draw. Like, it probably did no more than like 235K, which is really
that's not
really
what I'm hearing.
great.
I'm hearing well, we haven't heard Rick Glazer's numbers, but they're trying to say 1.2 million. I think Showbiz the Adult, one of the biggest, and Drew, I would love to have the kind of numbers Showbiz the Adult does. I've seen his fancy car. He's saying something over 1 million. That don't be surprised what's over 1 million. Is that cap?
Yeah. That's cap. That is cap. I'm hearing 235K. I'm hearing 300K. I'm hearing something like 250K. It didn't do nowhere near a million.
Hey,
Like, it's stupid.
If y'all new to the Shoe Shine, make sure you hit that like button right now. It will get us across the board more. This is live. Shout out to you, Nopal. We are doing vertical streaming because we're trying to grow the channel as much as possible. And a lot of people are paying attention to the sport of boxing right now. So hopefully the vertical will help your boy Dave and Drew out this week. I will be doing as much as I can out there on the streets of Las Vegas. It's Everybody Descends here Wednesday. I'm expecting an open media workout, I suppose, at the MGM Grand. Thursday, I'll try to do my best to hobsnob with those big-time reporters at the press conference, even though I don't have credentials, but I'll do my best. And, of course, Friday is the weigh-in, which is open to the public if you're in town. And, Drew, guess what? I got tickets to do this Saturday. The Fan Expo, the Boxing Fan Expo. And I got an email today, and I know you're very excited, Drew, about this, that Edgar Berlanga has been added at the last moment for the Fan Expo. I know you're very excited for me to talk to Edgar Berlanga. Guys, I said it on social media when I read the statement from the WBA. The WBA has made Edgar Berlanga the mandatory for Canelo Alvarez. And if you look at the landscape of what potential opponents he has, aside from Christian and Billy, a relatively unknown Canadian Olympian, Drew, it looks to me like it's all but certain that Edgar Berlanga will be Canelo's opponent in September.
No, it's not.
You saying no?
Nah, PBC won't do business with Eddie Hearn. So I doubt it would be Edgar Berlanga. I think if they going to do it, I think PBC's going to have full control, and I don't think Eddie's going to let him have full control. I think they're just going to, the fight's not going to happen. And if it does, people are going to look at it and, like, it's not going to sell. The fight's not going to sell. People are going to look at it like, yo, we're not buying this shit. We're going to go on Thunder TV, Amazon Fire Stick, go on these websites and watch that fight. We're not going to give you our cash for you to fight this C-minus D-level fighter in Edgar Berlanga. Hell no.
It's not about what the fans want, Drew. Unless you're talking to Turkish His Excellency, who's bringing this amazing fight card in August, of course. When it comes to Canelo Alvarez at this point, being in the position he is, where many people still feel he is the face of boxing, the ultimate shot caller, we're going to take what we get out of him. And he's going to sell us, in my opinion, they're going to sell us Mexican fans, Mexican-American fans, that this is your old school Mexico versus Puerto Rico showdown, one that we haven't seen in a while. We haven't seen Canelo fight a Mexican fighter in over 7 years. And now they're going to say, look, we haven't seen him fight a Puerto Rican fighter, and he's going to fight an undefeated knockout artist in Berlanga. And I know it's a crappy fight. It's an absolutely shit fight. But I'm telling you, I don't think Canelo Alvarez knocks out Jaime Munguia. So he needs to get another knockout. And what better person to do it against, if you're a Mexican fan, than a Puerto Rican fighter, which is why I am 100% certain that this is what they're going to ram down our throats this Mexican Independence Day weekend. So for all of you that don't know, Cinco de Mayo is not a national holiday in Mexico. It's kind of an American hybrid creation. But Mexican Independence Day, September 16th, is the 4th of July for Mexico. So, of course, they're going to want to give us this Mexico-Puerto Rican showdown. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know, first of all, is Edgar Berlanga even worthy of an opportunity against Canelo? And do you think they'll ram it down our throats? Because as far as I see it, Drew, I think that Canelo has got this one. He's a free agent. He's going to do whatever he wants. He'd probably fight for the Saudis if they give him enough money. If they make it interesting enough, fuck, he might even fight Jake Paul before the end of his career.
Never know.
You never know. Well, we got some big Jake Paul news. Not that I want to talk about it, but obviously it is important because, well, if you guys haven't heard, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson on Netflix. And this is now a little bit more interesting. Of course, we said that the women's fight, the co-main, who's on the co-main? It's going to be Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor, the rematch at 140 pounds. But this fight was going to be an exhibition between 50-something plus old Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. And now, Drew, the state of Texas has sanctioned it. It is official. It's a real fight.
It's crazy.
Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, sanctioned as a professional fight. AT&T Stadium, Drew, this place is massive. The last person to do big numbers in that stadium was Canelo Alvarez, selling over 67,000 tickets. This will be on Netflix for free. Who doesn't have Netflix? Y'all going to get it, so y'all going to be curious to watch it. It's going to be 2-minute rounds. That's the one thing that's great. 2-minute rounds, Drew, and 14-ounce gloves, no headgear. Does Jake Paul survive? Chicano says he's worried for Tyson. Worried for Tyson? You're joking, right? Drew, what's his name survive this? Does Jake Paul survive Mike Tyson? Even a 50-year-old, he's explosive.
I hope not. I really hope he knocks Jake Paul out, man. Like, this is a fucking disgrace.
Hey, shout out to Latin King Julio. I appreciate all the new subscribers. Last week, our last show, Drew, we had a whole bunch of new subscribers, and I do enjoy the fake Errol Spence. We got the fake Derek James. Of course, they're in a bitter rivalry right now, but they're bringing in litigation and lawyers to solve their, Derek James is owed money, Drew, and they're arguing right here on the Shoe Shine. And then what a welcome surprise if Mario Lopez comes back to the show. Mario Lopez, I always knew you were a fan of the Shoe Shine, and it was only confirmed last week when Mario Lopez appeared in the chat of the Shoe Shine. So make sure you guys hit that like button. All right, Drew, let's get on to last weekend because Fresno, our boy Nando was in the house. Who else was in the house? Shout out to Boxing Vitals on Twitter. He was in the house for a Oscar De La Hoya Golden Boy card featuring at the top of the card none other than former unified 140-pound champion Jose Ramirez versus Rances Bartholomew. 38-year-old Rances Bartholomew. It was kind of an exciting fight. I'm not gonna play. There was a little bit of drama, but earlier in the night, Drew, I wanted to touch on this. I like this kid Oscar Duarte who got a crack at Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia brought him up from 135 to 143. Remember, guys, Ryan Garcia fought that kid Oscar Duarte at 143, dragging him up 8 pounds. but he fought Jojo Diaz, and a lot of people got mixed opinions about Jojo Diaz. You know, I'm saying he gave Haney a good fight. He was a former world champion. I think he's a former Olympian and whatnot. But he's also a guy that's mired in controversy because he was supposedly he was sexting underage girls. And his local county prosecutors decided not to press any charges. But not one girl, not just his ex-girlfriend or ex-wife or ex-something's little sister. It was more than one girl, guys. So there's some people out there that ain't got no kind of respect for Jojo Diaz. And I'm surprised Jojo Diaz did as well as he did early in the fight. I predicted a stoppage. And indeed, Oscar Duarte got a stoppage. But it wasn't the kind of stoppage where you're like, oh, good, he's on the floor unconscious. Not Jojo Diaz. They just waved it off, eventually throwing in the towel. Drew,
he stopped the Latin R. Kelly.
He stopped the Latin R. Kelly. Jojo Diaz is talking on social media. There's a lot of people, because you know he's a born-again Christian now. You throw the born-again Christian, and all of a sudden people kind of forget that you're a suspected or accused pedophile. But he's throwing the Jesus card around, and people are feeling sympathy for him, and he's talking about, oh, I'm going to go back to 130. Maybe I can make 135. I haven't had any success at 140. But how about just retire? For reals. How about just retire? You lost. Not a bad idea. You lost 5 out of 6, and the fact that Oscar De La Hoya keeps bringing you back, you should appreciate those paychecks. But does anybody else think that Jojo Diaz deserves to keep fighting? Like he's actually going to? Yeah, people are saying, "Oh, fight Tevin Farmer." Nah, I'm not interested really in seeing you fight anymore. But if anybody is, well, shit, drop a comment. Let us know if you support Jojo Diaz. Oscar Duarte gets back on the winning path. That's very important, and a stoppage win. Now, maybe he's getting more acclimated to that 140 weight class, and he'll be a player, or he'll be somebody that big names can bring out as an opponent. He's already fought Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia spoke highly of him, said he hits like a mule. Maybe he'll get dragged out for that. Also on that card, Marlena Esparza. She was defending 3 titles. Her 3 titles drew 112 pounds. Misses weight and loses all her unified titles on the scale. Not only loses the titles on the scale, but loses the rematch. She don't get the nod. A very bad night for Marlena Esparza. So I got to ask Drew, what is up with Golden Boy fighters missing weight? I'll be real. Everybody on that card came in overweight. Marlena Esparza. Found out Jose Ramirez, I don't know what weight class that was at, but 141 and 142 was his opponent. So that wasn't even 140. Marlena Esparza loses her titles. Who else fought on that card? Well,
Virgil Ortiz.
155 point something. I mean, I'm not scoffing at a pound and a half, but when he is fighting Tim Tszyu in this massive fight coming up, Tim Tszyu has never missed weight. And apparently it's a WBA eliminator. Well, you got to kind of be shaking your head a little bit like, what's going on? Virgil can't even make 154. He has it. He didn't make it in January. I'm a little bit concerned.
Really concerned. I don't know what the hell these fighters are doing. Be honest, I'm not a fan of Esparza. I thought she was a born fighter. And, you know, she lost. She didn't get the nod. She lost her titles on the scale anyway. And you got, like, everybody else missing weight. So, I don't know. It's a pattern. So, and I don't know what to put it on yet, but it's weird. It's just weird. It's just weird to me that they all miss weight.
Yeah, it's beginning to be a pattern at Golden Boy. I don't understand. You know, it started off with Ryan Garcia blowing off 3 pounds. Obviously, it worked in his favor. He got the big win over Haney. He's on this victory tour. But Jose Ramirez is very likely, I've been advocating, if Jose Ramirez is interested in one last payday, then maybe it doesn't matter that he makes 140 pounds. I don't see Teofimo interested in making that fight. I asked Teofimo in January. Teofimo was like, we offered that fight to that dude. He's a punk, whatever, so-and-so. He didn't want to take the money. And then obviously Jose Ramirez left Top Rank and moved over to Golden Boy. But does an opportunity for Jose Ramirez now with this win in front of his hometown crowd, Drew, does it give him kind of some bargaining chips to say, hey, Ryan Garcia, man, I'm down to fight you. We both fight for Oscar. Let's make this fight happen.
Nah, I don't think they're gonna really agree to fight, do that for that fight. I don't think they're gonna agree to it. I think if you look at it, I don't think Ramirez will take the money. He'll make an excuse not to fight. Uh, I think the ideal fight for him is to fight Barbosa, another guy that got a gifted decision. So
That's
it
an
was
interesting
gifted.
fight. You know, Barboza got the, unfortunately, people don't think he got the right call. Maybe I don't either, to be honest. I thought the McCombs was his name on the Ryan Garcia undercard. Probably should have got the nod. I thought he outboxed Barboza, the boxer. But you bring up a damn good point. Both of those guys were at Top Rank. Both of them released because they said they weren't getting the fights. And now they both find themselves at 140 pounds under the roster of Oscar. Why not? I'm pretty damn sure that in the position that Barboza is in right now with the controversial win, driving up from Southern California to Fresno would be an honor to fight in front of Ramirez's 17,000 fans. Both of those guys are going to make the case to Ryan, fight me, fight me, fight me. Shout out to Tony Boswell. It's been a minute. Appreciate you. He says Barboza lost in my opinion. And, you know, I think obviously, I don't think there's any controversy that Jose Ramirez won this fight this Saturday. And in some spots, I think he looked great in some spots, letting his hands go, throwing brilliant combinations, but getting rocked in round 3. The ref missed that call, man. He got dropped, Drew. He, in my opinion, got dropped and then came very close to getting dropped again in the 4th round by the straight left hand of 38-year-old Francis Bartholomew. That could spell danger. That could spell some serious trouble, Drew, if he fights Ryan Garcia. A 38-year-old, obviously, is not going to have the punching power that we saw on display from Ryan Garcia recently in the Devin Haney fight. Guys, bear with me. Drew's off of Skype for a second. It's just me. Oh, there you go. Drew, did you see Francis Bartholomew catch him and hurt him early in round 3? I thought it was going to be a bad night for Jose Ramirez.
I look at it like this, man. I really think Jose didn't really have that great of a performance. Like, I think that it could have been a lot better. This was supposed to be some type of showcase fight.
It ended up being hard work. 12 rounds of hard work. I believe in the 11th round, Jack Reese said it's over. It's over. It looked like he was about to wave the fight over, but they came back out for the 12th round.
Yeah, I didn't find the fight that entertaining, you know. So I thought he won the fight handily, but I didn't think it was entertaining at all. Like, I really think, you know, we've seen the best days of Jose Ramirez are behind him.
Now, unfortunately, for Jose, he's only fought, twice in the past 2 years after losing to Josh Taylor here in Las Vegas during the pandemic. He's only fought twice. And in a couple of those fights, I believe he dragged up guys that were former fighters at 135 pounds. But he's strung along now 3 victories. And the question is, does he deserve a crack at a current champion like Teofimo Lopez, like Pitbull Cruz, if possible, like Matias? I'm sure Matias would love to put a big name on his resume. He'll be fighting Paro. After that, I mean, hey, I'm sure any of these guys wouldn't mind putting him on his resume as a stay busy fight. You know, not to insult, but
I look at it. I think you can put Jose Ramirez on the label of cringe contender.
Cringe, or did you say cringe? Or fringe?
That's my level.
Shout out to Jose El Compita and all the comrades over at Urban AZ on YouTube. Make sure you guys check them out. Yeah, man, it's a big week. Jose here as, Cinco de Mayo is approaching and fight week is approaching. It's Canelo fight week, so we're very, very excited. You guys can check out my boy Jose on Urban AZ, a great local Vegas channel. Well, you call it cringe. You've named it now. He's a cringe contender. All right, shout out to Tony Boswell. He says a lot of folks are saying Ryan versus Teofimo in September. And I did catch that interview on Punch Drunk on YouTube because, Punch Drunk, he's been down with Teofimo and his dad for a very long time, Drew. And he got an exclusive interview, one today that I was listening to, where Teofimo says, I got offered the fight with Ryan already in the past, but there was a lot of behind the scenes bullshit shenanigans, probably like these catch weight or, like funny clauses that Ryan might have been trying to put in his contract. So he said he turned it down, but he's open to it now. And he said, you know what? Let's just make this shit out of catch weight. Teofimo's saying, let's make it out of catch weight. And I, for one, highly support that, because if you're going to go into business with Ryan Garcia, you have to know, and you've got to protect yourself, that A, he may pull out entirely like he did once before for a mental health break. All right, that could happen. B, he shows up the fight and then he just makes up whatever fucking weight class he desires, because he's going to argue, I am the A side. How about I just pay you 1.5 million? How about I pay you $500,000 per pound? But I'm the A side. And then he puts the onus on you, which would be Teofimo Lopez, or in the case of Devin Haney, to be chicken shit. Like, hey, guy didn't want to fight me. I came in a little bit overweight, offered him money. But Devin Haney took him up on the offer, and it backfired tremendously. It backfired. $1.5 million was not worth enough money to ruin Devin Haney's reputation, his legacy, his brand. It wasn't worth $1.5 million. So how much money would it take Teofimo to agree to fight Ryan? If they agree on 143 pounds, Ryan Garcia comes in at 147, 148, Drew. Do you fight the guy?
I think I would put a clause in the contract that if we're at a weight and you refuse and you miss weight, and you don't make weight, I get paid my purse, and I can jump out, and I can still drop out of the fight because you miss weight. But I think that if fights are going to be made like that, if I was Teofimo, I'll tell him, yo, we can do a catch rate, 143, but if you weigh over 143 the day of the weigh-in, and you don't miss weight again, a second attempt, not only do I get my full purse, but I don't have to fight you. I can drop out of the fight and refuse to fight you.
Yeah, my boy Compita says that he wants to see Benavidez versus Canelo, which all hardcore boxing fans have been wanting to see that fight. The WBC never mandated it. And David Benavidez got sick and tired of waiting. So if you haven't yet heard, David Benavidez will be the co-main on Gervonta Tank Davis's next fight against Frank Martin here in Las Vegas in June, a PBC pay-per-view. David Benavidez is moving up to light heavyweight to fight Vodzik, a former world champion at light heavyweight. The days of David Benavidez coming back down to 168 are almost completely, non-existent, right, Drew? I don't think there's no way he's coming back down, because he has a opportunity here, if he wins, to be in place to fight the winner of the 5-on-5 winner between Dmitry Bivol and Beterbiev. So there's no way he's coming back down. Canelo has found a way to avoid David Benavidez. It's done. He's like, and David Morrell, the Cuban guy. The Cuban guy will be fighting on that August 3rd super card. Riyadh season in Los Angeles, Drew. He's fighting, who's he fighting? Oh, Hot Rod, who was featured on Pro Box. David Morrell also leaving 168. It basically leaves, let me see, who's worth the shit at 168? At the moment, Berlanga, who I'm no fan of, has a stake. He has an argument as an undefeated fighter with an almost all KO streak, and the WBA mandatory. You've got Edgar Berlanga. You have Christian Mbili, who fights for Top Rank, who is a medalist in the Olympics and has an undefeated record and looks brilliant when you do get to watch him fight against, basically against trash opponents. He looks brilliant. Those two guys are the only two real... Wow, fuck. Berlanga's not a threat to Canelo at all. David Pacheco, Drew? Maybe in a year or so, David Pacheco, you said fringe. I say fringe contender. You might say cringe contender. Canelo Alvarez needs Munguia to come this Saturday and bring the best fight possible, because if he does, Canelo he has a built-in excuse to never fight any of those guys, David Benavidez or David Morrell. He will simply rematch Jaime Munguia. He'll say, hey, I'll fight Berlanga in September. I'll fight Christian and Billy next May because he deserves a shot. He's a mandatory. And then I'll get around to giving Jaime Munguia that rematch because everyone said it was such a great fight. Let's run that back. Mexican Independence Day 2025. Guys, at this point, how old will Canelo Alvarez be? We're talking about 2 years. We're talking about 2 years from now. The writing's on the wall. After that, what, he could defend his title against fringe guys like Pacheco? I mean,
there's not really more that Canelo can really do but move up and everything. Like, there's really no big opponents for him unless he moves up now.
Unless he moves up to light heavyweight, which he had. He had zero success against Bivol. Obviously, Dimitri Bivol would love a rematch to the point where he offered Canelo a rematch at 168. He says, I'll fight for your titles. And Canelo didn't bite on that. He just didn't want to touch that. He said, no, I'll fight you at your weight class. No, forget it. You're asking too much money.
He can beat Bivol. Here's the thing. He's not confident he can beat Demetrius Bivol.
No,
because he would have took the fight anyway. I'm sorry. He's not confident he beats Demetrius Bivol. And I don't think he beats Demetrius Bivol at all.
Well, let's talk about this weekend, Drew, because come Wednesday night, all of the boxing world will be rushing to Las Vegas. We've got probably media day at the MGM Grand. Thursday, you're going to have press conferences. Friday, you're going to have the public weigh-in. Saturday, you've got Box Fan Expo at the Las Vegas Convention Center, followed by, obviously, the big event at the T-Mobile Saturday night. A whole week of festivities for Cinco de Mayo. And to all my Vegas people that I see Veronica, I see Jose El Compita, I see Jimenez Video Productions, to all SB, shout out to SB. Downtown Fremont Street, downtown Las Vegas is having Cinco de Drinko, well, forever that's worth. And that basically means they're going to have a whole shitload of Latin bands this year. So it's going to be a nonstop entertainment all weekend long in Las Vegas, Drew. Quickly, the undercard. We talked about this undercard. It's kind of trash. We got Stanionis fighting. I believe he's fighting. Who's he fighting? Who's on this card? We got Stanionis fighting. We have Brandon Figueroa fighting. Okay. Brandon Figueroa's sister is having a baby with Mario Barrios. So that's a whole family affair now. Mario Barrios is on the card, and he's fighting Chicano fighter that is relatively unknown to basically everybody. This entire undercard is one of those undercards where they put some Mexicans on there, Mexican Americans on there, Drew, but nobody really gives a shit. And I'll give my prediction right now. People will not show up to the T-Mobile until 6 or 7 p.m. and just blow through the entire undercard.
Oh, hell no, because the thing is, Stanionis and Barrios should be fighting each other.
Agree, 100%. This is why we talked about this on the roundtable today. Shout out to Abib and D-Style. But when you put into comparison what the Saudi cards are doing, obviously they got that 5-on-5 coming up. They also have that humongous card in Los Angeles coming up August 3rd, Riyadh season in Los Angeles. Those cards are stacked top to bottom. For Cinco de Mayo, because Canelo Alvarez is so expensive, because they also got to pay Jaime Munguia a record payday, that's all we get. And shit, did you see the price tag on that? I think it's
$90.
Damn.
You know they're going to lose money.
Shout out to Nerd. He says Bivol will not be the same after that Beterbiev fight. Man, that is just such a great card right here. Let me see here. That the 5-on-5 between Queensberry and Matchroom, obviously. I don't have the card on that, but man, that card is pretty damn stacked, Drew. Let's get to the main event. Let's get to our predictions right now for all of those listening. If you haven't hit that like button, make sure you hit that like button. Usually I don't like to make my predictions on Monday because for this fight, Drew, people have put me on the spot already. And this has been the year of upsets 2024. Let's not forget Fundora. If you bet on Fundora, Sebastian Fundora against Tim Tszyu, you made a small fortune. If you put a lot of money on Fundora, you made a big fortune. If you put money on Ryan Garcia, you probably made a fortune, at least 5.5 times your $100. He was a plus 550. That being said, how do I not at least feel tempted to put some money down on Jaime Munguia this weekend. Man. Jose Compita says $90 is crazy stupid for that fight card. I agree. It makes it. That's why for Cinco de Mayo, you got to make sure that you're invited to a house party or you got your little. I'm not gonna advocate you have a fire stick, but if you do, who gives a shit? Who am I to judge? Hey, shout out to Willie Coyote. Will Canelo ever fight Benavidez? Oh, man, it looks increasingly unlikely that he will ever fight him, especially if Benavidez goes on to become the light heavyweight champ or gets a title. You'll probably see David Benavidez busy fighting the likes of David Morrell before we ever see him fight Canelo Alvarez. Excuse me, guys, if I'm burping. I've been drinking this tequila, my brand new tequila. Let me show this one. I'm not sure if Jose El Compita saw this, but I had posted this on my Instagram. This is a extra añejo from Mi Familia Flores, and it's like candy. This shit is incredible. It's aged 3 years, and I bet they probably add some additives because it tastes too damn good. It don't even taste like tequila. It tastes like delicious. It tastes like candy. It's too easy to drink, and while Drew gets back to his Skype, I'm going to pour myself another small shot of this añejo because it's fight weekend. It's Cinco de Mayo week. Let me give you guys my thoughts while Drew comes back. If he ever comes back. Oh, absolutely. We got to take some. Look at the color on this, guys. You can see the color at age 3 years on that. And this stuff was not cheap, but that's why I'm drinking the good stuff because it is Cinco de Mayo week. That is delicious. Will I sing some mariachi this week? That is the great unknown. At some point, I have to make a decision if I will be singing some mariachi on my channel. If I drink enough tequila, it'll most likely happen. All right. Why is everybody hating on Jaime Munguia having an opportunity to win an upset this weekend? We've seen upsets from Ryan Garcia. Nobody believed in him. Nobody really believed in Fundora, even though the circumstances were completely different in that one, which a tremendous huge cut on Tim Tszew's scalp bled onto his face the entire time, making it almost impossible for him to see. Nonetheless, he comes off as the new champion, and Ryan Garcia pulls off upset of the year. Jaime Munguia beating Canelo Alvarez would not be the biggest upset because in the career of Canelo Alvarez, Drew, well, we've got quite a few people that have beat him officially and unofficially. Let's go back to 2014. A young Canelo Alvarez comes to Las Vegas to fight the great Floyd Mayweather. Not ready to fight him. All right. Many people are saying Jaime Munguia's not ready to fight Canelo. If he's not ready now, when will he ever be ready? So here he is taking on this big test, Drew. Loses to Floyd Mayweather. In my opinion, could have possibly lost to Austin Trout. Remember that fight? Probably could have lost to Lara at 154 pounds. We all saw that fight. Many people think Lara should have gotten the nod. Gennady Golovkin. The first fight with Gennady Golovkin. In my opinion, he definitely didn't win that fight. Should have got a loss there. That's at least 4 losses. Got schooled by Dimitri Bivol. Obviously, Jaime Munguia is no Dimitri Bivol, but we've got potentially 5 losses on the record that could be on Canelo's record. So why is it not possible for Jaime Munguia to get an upset? I'm going to go with you, Drew, because I think you were convinced, and many people used to call you a Canelo hater, but you're convinced that Jaime Munguia is getting knocked out.
Oh, yeah. I just don't think... I don't think he's I just don't think he's fundamentally ready for Canelo. I think he had his more of a head movement against Wilder and everything, but I just don't think he's gonna take a lot of shots, and I think eventually he's going to succumb to it. I think he's going to take some shots late. I think the longer this fight lasts, the more it favors Canelo Alvarez to get a stoppage. especially if it goes into deep waters and everything. He takes damage the whole fight and everything. I just don't see him making 12 rounds. Like, I don't think there are fights that Jaime Mejia didn't win. Like the Sergey Govchenko, I didn't think he won that fight. I think he clearly lost that fight. I thought he lost to Dennis Hogan.
He most definitely lost to Dennis Hogan in his Mexico homecoming fight. He was definitely booed on that fight. And then he had one of the toughest fights of his career against Sergey Derevchenko, who was coming up from 160. Of course, Munguia was a 160 fighter at 1.2. But Sergey Derevchenko gave him hell. And that was a fight of the year contender. He's taken a lot of punishment. Drew, I remember watching this documentary about this wrestler. I forget the name of the wrestler. Maybe you guys have heard this story, but they tested him post-mortem after he had died because this guy as a wrestler had taken so many chairs to the head, and they could not understand how this guy could pull this stunt off over and over in the ring. All these like smashing of garbage cans over his head when they weren't fake, real chairs over his head, concussions, and never, ever seemed to be fazed by it. Well, when they tested his skull, they found out that he had twice the density of skull matter over the normal human being. And that is who Jaime Munguia is, because Jaime Munguia, for many years, used his fucking head as his defense. He uses his head, his face. The guy has an indestructible chin, forehead, forehead. I don't think Canelo Alvarez is going to knock out Jaime Munguia, Drew, but Jaime Munguia has never faced a hard-hitting counterpuncher, the likes of the great Canelo Alvarez. He's never fought any counterpuncher as good as Canelo Alvarez. So I have to ask you, Canelo has a history in his career of starting late. Amir Khan jumped on a 4-0 lead against Canelo Alvarez. Little Amir Khan, speedy little Amir Khan, had racked up, in my opinion, the first 4 rounds of that fight. Are we going to see that from an older Canelo Alvarez this weekend, where he lets the young fighter who throws a lot of punches take an early lead? Let's get through round 1 through 6. Who wins round 1 through 6? Does the young, high-volume fighter in Jaime Munguia take rounds 1 through 4? Or does Canelo come out guns blazing like he did against Jermell Charlo?
I think Jaime Mejia might not win a round.
In 1 through 6.
Because I really think, this is Oscar's guy. I think Canelo's really going to make an example out of him. And say, you still don't got nobody to replace me. And everything. That's why this is supposed to be Oscar's next guy to replace Canelo Alvarez. And Canelo gets the opportunity to give the guy his first L.
All right, so you think it's personal. Obviously, Canelo left Oscar over contractual reasons, over the deal they had at the Zone. He's got even more incentive to destroy what's left of his relationship with Golden Boy, and by that he means destroying Jaime Munguia, who is what you would say is Oscar's replacement. There can never be a replacement to Canelo, because if Jaime Munguia was going to be a star already, he would have achieved that stardom that Canelo has. He needs to knock out or beat Canelo Alvarez to even be considered. Even if he does beat Canelo, will he get the praise that, Canelo, will he get that overnight stardom in America? He doesn't speak English. With Ryan Garcia just upsetting Devin Haney, will people be like, oh shit, now all of a sudden it's Munguia? But you don't think he even wins round 1 through 6? All right. Well, this is where I disagree with you, Drew. I think Jaime does do well in the first half of this fight.
Here's the thing. If he wins this fight, Canelo's retiring.
All right. Manny Scholl says it's going the full 12. I definitely agree that this fight is going the full 12. One, because Canelo hasn't really knocked out anybody as of late. He wasn't able to stop John Ryder. And John Ryder's well into his 30s, and he wasn't able to cut off the ring, which is something Canelo used to be able to do quite well against Jermell Charlo and get Jermell Charlo out of there. So how does Jaime Munguia get knocked out? Is it because he continues to throw punches and leaves himself open to sharp counterpunching by Canelo?
He moves forward. That's all he does is move forward. He's not good off his back foot. So what I know he does, he avoids going on his back foot by going forward. Big advantage for Canelo. A guy's going to keep going forward. It's tailor-made. This guy's tailor-made for Canelo Alvarez.
I'm hearing a lot of people say that a come forward type fighter is perfect and tailor-made. People today told me, well, let's remember fighters who've come forward and got knocked out, or stopped or done very poorly. Chavez Jr., okay? Who was the fighter that got knocked out in the very early rounds? What was he? He was a Texas fighter. He had a female coach, and
James Franklin.
Exactly. Those are all. You're thinking that he's going to James Kirkland. You're thinking he's going to walk into a shot.
He may walk into a shot or a combination.
Yeah, let me know how you guys feel about this. If you think Jaime Munguia is going to walk into a shot, as Drew says, obviously Canelo is one of the finest counterpunchers in boxing today, and has been for a very long time, with a very, very astute ring IQ. So, your opinion of him with Freddie Roach, who's an offense-minded coach, not going to help? Not going to help Jaime?
Nah, it's not going to help that much because Jaime needs to know when to back off. He needs to be better throwing on the back foot, and he's not. He's not a good fighter on the back foot. And that's going to be the thing that decides his fight. And then when Canelo goes forward and nails him with a punch that makes Jaime retreat a little bit, then he's going to have to figure something out, because he's going to have to throw something to keep Canelo off, to stop Canelo in his tracks. Because if Canelo gets him on the ropes and he starts railing on him, it could be over there.
The only person that I've ever seen hurt Canelo Alvarez was a relatively unknown fighter that was the sibling of Miguel Cotto a very long time ago. That is the last time I've ever seen, or only time I've ever seen, Canelo Alvarez rocked. Does Jaime Munguia have enough firepower at 168 pounds to make Canelo think twice or potentially wobble his feet?
No.
If he doesn't respect Jaime Munguia, I mean, I don't know what to say.
I think after the first couple rounds, if Canelo's taking shots from Jaime, and it looks like he's just moving forward and everything, he doesn't respect the power.
Man, Wiley Coyote says Floyd mopped up Canelo. Obviously, yeah, it was probably the biggest learning lesson, passing of the mantle to Canelo Alvarez. He was not ready for that fight. He came up short, and it was an electrifying weekend. I was in Las Vegas for that fight, and I can't remember energy being so high. I'm curious if I'll ever see energy this exciting again. Let me give you my quick rundown of how I think as of today, as of Monday, and things might change, guys, as I'm here in Las Vegas, and things might change as I get closer to the weigh-in. But as of Monday, my feelings are that rounds 1 through 6, Drew, they split. They're going to split those. You're going to have high volume from Jaime Munguia, potentially snatching up the first 3 or 4 rounds, and then Canelo begins to figure out the patterns and timing Jaime and beginning to counter him with some shots that make Jaime think twice. Once he gets him to think twice, that volume of punches from Jaime will come down significantly. Canelo likes to keep the punches, his arsenal, to 30 to maximum 45, 50 punches per round. He has not thrown 50 punches per round in a very long time. It does not benefit him to throw that much. Jaime Munguia can obviously throw way more than that, Drew. So the counterpunching in those first 6 rounds is going to be extremely important to get the tempo down, to control Jaime's tempo, to get him to second guess himself. After round 6, the second guessing gets very extensive. And here's something that Jose El Compita brought up. What role will body punches play? Canelo hits like a mule to the side of the body. And I think he actually could hurt Jaime Munguia to the body. If Jaime Munguia doesn't fold, it is going to be a rough going between rounds 6 and 9. where at that point, Drew, age begins to become a factor, Drew. I think Canelo Alvarez gasses out, and we may even see the return to old Canelo Alvarez, where he used to fight off the ropes. In the later rounds, we are going to see Canelo go back to that, where he fights off the ropes and tries to bring in Jaime Munguia to fight on the ropes, where Canelo can pick his shots, pick them off, counterpunch. This is where the fight gets extremely exciting, is between rounds 9 and 12, where Jaime Munguia's youth comes back into play and he potentially wins a couple of rounds. Maybe 9, 10, 11, 12. Jaime picks up an extra 2 rounds, making this a very exciting fight. Cinco de Mayo fight. Guys, a lot of people on that round table did not think Jaime Munguia wins 3 rounds. Some said he's lucky to win 4. I think he absolutely is going to win 4, if not 5 rounds, giving you 7-5, giving you a very competitive, exciting fight. No way Jaime gets the nod in Las Vegas. Canelo will still be the face of boxing. But most importantly, it's going to be such a memorable fight that Canelo will be able to give us that argument that the fans, that Mexico, they want to see us run this shit back. And there is nothing better in Mexican history and boxing than to have a trilogy, a la Israel Vasquez, a la Manny Pacquiao Morales, or Morales versus Barrera. Every great Mexican fighter needs a trilogy. He already had a trilogy with Golovkin, but in his old age, he needs a trilogy against somebody he knows ain't going to knock him out, that ain't going to hurt him. Maybe they split them one apiece. Maybe there's a draw, but I think for sure it's going to be such a good fight that people might actually say, let's run it back. And that is going to give Canelo all the excuses in the world to never go up to 175.
I think this ends in 10.
Look who just showed up. Sin City Syndicate says under 10, go 0.5, go get that free money.
I think he walks into something, and then once he walks into that punch, it hurts him, it puts him to the ropes, and Canelo goes after him. I think the body shots are going to play a big role in this fight. I think Canelo's going to go after the body early to take this kid's stamina away from him, to make sure that it's going to play a big factor in the later rounds. So he'll be able to go for the stoppage. I just think in round 9 or 10, Canelo's going to get a good shot off, and he's just going to go for the kill and tell that referee, stop this fight. He ain't going to be able to fight me back no more.
Yeah, I like that bet, under 10.5. Even though I don't necessarily feel very strongly that Canelo is going to be able to get Jaime Munguia out of there, I think very strongly it's probably going to go the distance. I do like that bet, and I also do like the idea of hedging with all the upsets this year. I do like the idea of putting some money on Jaime Munguia. It's been the year of upsets, Drew. There's who knows how many more upsets are coming up. We got some super fights coming ahead. We've got unification, undisputed, heavyweight action in May. How could we not be talking about this? The minute this fight is over, we will be talking about Usyk versus Tyson Fury because it's coming up in May, Drew. Also, let's not forget the following day after the Canelo Alvarez fight, the return of the monster Inoue, Japanese fighter that says he don't need to fight in the U.S. Everybody's saying he don't need to come here and fight in the U.S. He sold out the Tokyo Dome. The last time there was a fight at the Tokyo Dome was, who was that? Buster Douglas versus Mike Tyson, a fight in which there was an upset. I don't think there's any upset come Monday, May 6th. There is no chance, in my opinion, that the Mexican fighter Nettie will be beating the monster Inoue. Even though he's only got one loss as a champion, I don't see him doing any better than Nonito Donaire did in his first fight, and that's arguably the toughest fight. This is a stoppage, guys. This is going to be another highlight reel to show you how dangerous and incredible of a pound-for-pound fighter that the monster Inoue is. But these are two tremendous fights coming up this weekend. Obviously, this fight is on a Monday. A great fight. Immediately after that, all we will be talking about on this show is heavyweight boxing with this Fury fight. Let me get this. This is May 18th, undisputed Tyson Fury.
Next weekend, it's Loma versus Kambosos.
Yeah, let me bring up the top rank schedule, Drew, because you're right about that. In Perth, Australia, we got Lomachenko fighting for the 135-pound title that was vacated, I believe. Who vacated that? Devin Haney?
Yeah, he's fighting for 2 belts. One that's not sanctioned, like legit sanctioning, the IBO, and what is it, the IBF? Or WBO?
Indeed. Let me bring that up really quick. All right, we have, as I said, May 6th, Inoue versus Nettie, Lomachenko versus Kambosos. I don't really give a shit about Kambosos. It's interesting because of the location, and who did I run into that is traveling down to Australia in the ring with Christine's friend, the former Marine champion. He's fighting on that card.
Yeah, Joseph Howard, his Jamal Howard. But look at it like this: it's a crossroads fight for both guys. I think it's a crossroads fight for both Loma and Kambosos.
I can't see how Lomachenko doesn't pull ahead and win a title in his late 30s. I see this as a one-sided affair. He beats Kambosos. Shout out to Jamel Herring.
I think he stops Kambosos.
Yeah, it's very likely. Coming up ahead, too, we have in San Diego, if you are in San Diego, the hard-hitting, ever-exciting Navarrete fighting Baranchek May 18th. That also features Giovanni Santillane, welterweight contender out of San Diego. And May 18th is that the undisputed, too? Fuck, man, that is a great day of boxing. Navarrete, late at night, San Diego. Obviously, Fury versus Usyk will probably be over since it was in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. That'll be over. And if you give a shit, Josh Taylor returns to the ring in a rematch against Catterall at the end of May. And then Beterbiev versus Bivol, June 1. That's an exciting month of May leading right up into June.
I think the Josh Taylor rematch is way past due. Nobody gives a fuck about it. Like, it's just the dude's lost already. Like, he lost miserably, one-sided. It doesn't mean shit, the rematch. Like, I just don't see it.
You know, Josh Taylor looked like such trash. I gave Teofimo Lopez one of the performances of the year when he snatched up that title from Josh Taylor. We saw Regis Prograis get embarrassed against Devin Haney. But I have to be honest that I think Jose Ramirez still has something left in the gas tank after his performance this weekend. I think he still has something to prove. If not, look for a tremendous, huge payday. We're almost up at the full hour. I appreciate everybody that's been watching this show. There will be another Shoe Shine this week. Obviously, it's a big fight week. We'll get on to more of some of these big stories in the sport of boxing. Drew and I are enjoying. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you do that. Hit the notification so you know when we go live. Could go randomly live this weekend. I want to make sure I get this, guys. There was a death in the sport of boxing this weekend. The fight did not take place this weekend, Drew, but this is a very, very sad story. It's two sad stories. One of them, we just get reminded, Drew, there is a fighter. You guys heard of this Combat Fight League where many teams, many cities have their own team. This heavyweight fighter, he's, I believe, a Congolese fighter. He was on the Miami team, Drew, and he was undefeated. Andy Ndembo, he had a perfect 8-0 record, and he succumbed to a Las Vegas fighter, Mexican fighter out of Las Vegas on the heavyweight team that's trained by Roger Mayweather. 3 weeks ago, he went into a coma from the knockout. He was knocked out. This is Roger Mayweather's team out of Las Vegas, Team Combat League. I've seen it. It's very entertaining. Unfortunately, he passed away this weekend after being in a coma. And he was a father of 2. It just reminds you, Drew, that, you don't play the sport of boxing. It is the most dangerous sport. And when we see fighters arguing about how much money and their coaches wanting to get paid respectfully, it's like a brutal, dangerous sport. And every year, multiple people die in the sport of boxing. it's very dangerous. So we can't hate on fighters wanting to get paid the absolute most amount of money. Like I said, he was 8-0. He was undefeated. He was no scrub, and he succumbed to his injuries from being knocked out. So rest in peace to R.D. Nadembo and his family. Also, speaking of Tyson Fury, is one of his most recent opponents who I think almost upset him. But Francis Ngannou, Drew, this is horrible, man. If you guys haven't seen it on social media, Francis Ngannou, his youngest baby, passed away this weekend as well. He had a baby die, and he had a very sad statement. Too soon to leave, but yet he's gone. My little boy, my mate, my partner, Kobe, was full of life and joy. Now he's laying without life. I shouted his name over and over, but he's not responding. I was my best self next to him, and now I have no clue who I am. Life is so unfair to hit us where it hurts the most. You guys could read the rest of that statement online. Very tragic, man. Francis Ngannou, we send our prayers to him as well. Someone that I thought, wow, almost upset Tyson Fury, a guy who wasn't prepared at all. Well, Drew, you gave your prediction. Is there anything that's going to make you change your mind on Canelo this weekend?
Fuck no.
And that's knocked out under 10?
Yep.
All right, for the record, as of Monday, I may waver. I may switch. Who knows? I think Canelo goes the distance and wins the decision win. I don't think anybody's going to give Jaime Munguia the fight, so it'll be a unanimous decision. That's my prediction, but it's Monday. I'm Dave in the 702 Philly Irish Drew Evo. Drew, any parting words before we go?
Not off the top of my head.
All right, man. Well, we look forward to seeing you guys later on this week for another show. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification, and we will see you later. Peace out, everybody. Peace.